Today, the farmyard strikes back as we take a look here at the Game Academy at Livestock Uprising from DogMight Games. So we have Livestock Uprising that we're going to take a look at today. I'm Mark here with the Game Academy, and I'm just going to give you a review and kind of explain this game a little bit as we go, since it's not a real complicated game. So Livestock Uprising is one of the first releases from DogMight Games. The other one they have is like a drinking game called Lake Billy, I believe, and it's not the most appropriate game in the world, but anyway, we do have this game called Livestock Uprising, and basically what you're doing is you're building a little army. You're either the cows, the pigs, the sheep, or sorry, goats or pigs, and so you have your army, and you have your generals, and you'll place these guys basically out on some tiles. And there's different numbers on the back of them for how many players you have. You set them up, they have different icons on them of different types of resources that you're going to collect so that you can build your troops or armies. So it's kind of a dudes on the map type field as far as that goes. But what makes it a little bit different is that you have these generals, and you're going to have some barns out here. But anyway, you're going to have your deck of cards with your generals. So you might have your pigs or whatever. And the stars on them really don't matter. It's just to differentiate which one they are on the board. But basically, as you gain troops for each one of them, you put those troops underneath of them, and that represents their strength. So like this here, if I put it underneath General Truffle, this ornery oxen has a 3 attack and a 3 defense. And that's just what you add to your dice roll when you roll your dice. It's pretty straight up, straightforward as that goes. Real simple. So, you know, you add on, and then there's a limit of like, I think 5 cards that you can add to your army, and that's it. And then once you get to that 5 limit, you can switch it with an army of yours that's in an adjacent square and some things like that. There's also some command cards that'll give you some special abilities and things that you can do. Everybody gets 3 of those. One of the things that you can do is with the pigs, you know, and everybody's is the same as far as what it costs to upgrade, you know, buy a sacrificial sheep. But I'll start off right away with one of the things I don't like. Everything is progressive, so you have to have this first thing, I'm sorry, this is off screen. So first thing you have to do is you have to have the sacrificial sheep before you can get a dynamite donkey, before you can get a bloodthirsty llama, before you can get a berserker horse, before you can get an ornery oxen. It's nonsense. It's just straightforward. There's no diversity, no change there whatsoever. I don't really like that. I think they could have done a better job of making it so that maybe you have a choice of, hey, here's a defensive type one, and here's an offensive type one, and let you kind of gear your pig's army that he has with him, you know, with that. It's very simplified, you know, but it's all very progressive. And you do have some special forces that you can add on there. Private Can-Eater, Lieutenant Pygmy, Colonel Van Goat. Those are the only things that allow you to act outside of the normal progression on here. And those cards are basically, once they're removed from your unit, they're removed from the game. So you almost want to use them sparingly at the same time, which makes it, to me, kind of counterproductive. So that's one of the things I don't like about the game. I like the simplicity, but I don't like the forced, you have to go in this order, forced order type dilemma. That's not what I want to see from my game, basically. At least not at the level of playing that I'm at. Now, with, let's say, my kids, that's a different story. You know, this game probably isn't that bad for them because everything's in a very set order. You have to get this, to get this, to get this, to get this. And that's not too bad. But really, it just comes down to rolling dice. And then you have these command cards that are very swingy. Some of them you'll get, and they may not have anything useful for you. But something that your opponent might play during your turn can set you back an entire turn. And being set back an entire turn in this game means that your progression chain is thrown off, which sets you behind, and it can really handicap you for the rest of the game, especially in a 2-player game. In a 3-player game, it might be a little bit more. 3 to 4 players, it's a little more a dealable type situation where you can come back from it, but still, it's kind of iffy at that. You have battle plans that you get once you're ready. You can consolidate all your troops into one big giant army, and basically then you add up all your points and everything, and you flip this board over onto the battle board side, and you're rolling 2 dice instead. And when you defeat somebody, you remove two of their troops instead of normally you just remove 1 when you defeat someone. Now you're removing 2 of them, and it kind of reminds me of Monsters Menace America, if you've ever played that, where you've got kind of a sub-game that ends the game. And so you're racing back. Whoever gets that first tends to win the game. Whoever tends to get the super army built up first will tend to win. There is a little bit of a strategy, though, that you could go for. If you're a little bit behind the other person, you can try and get back to all your guys back first and form that super army and kind of surprise the other person, but it doesn't work because the barns usually are so close to you that you're never going to be so far away usually that it's going to matter. So you can't really trick somebody into it. So I've tried, trust me, I've tried to find some different ways of making the game a little bit more strategic than what it is. Overall, it's for some people, I think. I think it's got a certain market, and I don't want to put it down too much. I think it's okay for a very simplistic game. It's all right. But if you're looking for something a little bit more, I mean, games have evolved at this point to a point where they shouldn't be quite like this. And like I said, these command cards are swingy enough to where they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be that swingy anymore. And that's one of the things that some games do. Another one that comes to mind, well, not really. I was trying to think of some other games, but some games have cards where they're not always balanced. Like the first Viticulture that was released was like that, where some of the cards were clearly better than others. I still love the original Viticulture, but the newer one definitely improves things. And I feel like this could have been fleshed out maybe just a little bit more. Maybe get a way to draw some more command cards would have been nice, especially if you're behind, maybe a catch-up mechanism. Because really, once you get behind, you know you're going to lose. And then you're spending the next 20 minutes knowing that you're probably going to lose. So that's not too much fun. But that's just a general overview and my thoughts on the game. I'm not going to go into a whole lot. I mean, you get a move on your turn and some other stuff, but a very simplistic game. It takes about 10 minutes to read the rules and understand them. The hardest part is understanding the rules for your super combined force of pigs or chickens, but that's it. I really never had any real rules questions on this game. So I think very simplistic game that you might enjoy depending on where you're at in your gaming life, but it has flaws. It definitely has some flaws. It's a good first try. I applaud them for taking a kind of a funny theme. Anyway, I think this game falls into a category where for like 10 to 12-year-old kids, this might be a really good game for them. To kind of be like a war type game that's not too expensive or too complicated for them. And it can get a lot of use and a lot of mileage. You know, you get 4 teenagers together, they might enjoy a game like this. But chances are they'll end up playing Magic the Gathering, and you won't have to worry about that. But, you know, I think it's an okay game. I think that the publishers maybe should have put a little more time into it, but a good first try. I hold nothing against them. DogMight, good shot, but it just doesn't hit home with me. My kids actually like it more than I do. And, you know, that might be where the value lies in there. For a gamer, not that great. For kids, maybe from 8 to 12, it's probably a pretty decent game. So you might want to check it out if that falls in your criteria. Livestock Uprising from DogMight Games.